do this. Here we go. I have a new resolve to record videos and put them on YouTube. If I'm being honest, in my spare thoughts, I often dream, oh, wouldn't it be nice to be a YouTuber? And I certainly spend, a fair bit of time listening to people articulating themselves online. And, I definitely believe it's good to not just be consuming, but producing. And, this is something I feel strongly about. A few years ago, 2 years ago, maybe, I did a little bit of what I called like speaking practice, where I recorded a series of videos. I actually recorded them live. It was kind of like using the YouTube live feature, just to practice talking on camera. I don't know, I feel like a little bit like that's sort of starting with hard mode, and the whole project, the videos they came with seem like they could be a bit, anyways, they're not listed anymore, and I don't know how I feel about that experiment, but it was a few years later. I'd like to give this a try again. We'll see where it goes. My plan, this is pre-recorded video, my plan is to then upload it, and it'll be there to watch or listen to for anyone who comes across it. This is in no way anything that I definitely want to promote. In terms of my motivation, I guess my hope would be that maybe a few people would listen to it, 1 or 2 or 3 perhaps, or no one, and that's okay too, but it is out there, and I guess my hope would be that I would develop a little bit more momentum in this direction, feel more comfortable talking on camera, being recorded, feel more comfortable articulating myself to the invisible audience, and feel more comfortable and confident coming up with things to say to put online. In particular, I'd like to be comfortable thinking out loud. I have no bullet points or outline for what I'm going to say. Who knows, maybe at one point I will work off of maybe not quite a script, but an outline. I think that would be a good thing to practice. But I am drawn to the idea of being able to think out loud in front of an audience or a listenership. I certainly do in my conversations. In terms of the best conversations I have with people, that involves thinking out loud, and good conversation is one in which you say something that you've never said before. It could also be an opportunity, though, to also articulate some of the kind of talking points or half-formed ideas one's ruminated about already in one's head. It can also be a kind of good conversation. It can also give you an opportunity to say the things that you have thought before, but you've never been able to share with someone. But yeah, there's a lot of talking points, I'm sure, deep within me that I can bring out spontaneously. But in particular, in terms of some larger goal, it would be able to kind of speak sort of extemporaneously. Anyways, speak on the fly and be able to produce something that's pretty high signal. Yeah, pretty high signal with insight on it that has just bubbled up in the moment. Maybe that doesn't make so good for this kind of monologue content. Who knows, maybe with this monologue content, having a bit more of an outline is a better way to go about it. Eventually, I would like to imagine having conversations with people that are recorded and uploaded, maybe even interviews. Feels kind of like it feels like folly to just started doing this to say something about where I would like this to go. It's like I'm trying to, pull, feels a little bit like I'm pushing and trying to push and pull myself in this particular direction. And I imagine that if I say on camera, like, this is something that I want to do, that I feel some commitment to, that maybe I'll be more likely to do it. Frankly, my confidence level that, based on my track record, if I'm looking purely at my track record, when it comes to starting creative projects like this, looking at my track record, the likelihood that I will continue with this and ultimately record conversations, put them online, it seems low. But at the same time, I feel, it seems to me like maybe some things are clicking into place in terms of my attitude or just my life context that could support this right now. I've had, a few years ago when I was actually contributing more online and on the internet and found, was participating in what felt like sort of a scene or an online community, the sort of sense-making game B space. It was very exciting, and I was very drawn in. It was a lot of very new, step 0, step 1 energy. It was great, but the problem was I think I got too like it was taking up more of my mental bandwidth and my energy and my attention than I really could allow for it to consume, because I have, I run a business, I have a family, I have a toddler daughter, and, well, not a toddler, she's not a toddler anymore, she's 3. And I have a baby who is sleeping right now. She's sleeping downstairs. She is 9 months old, going on 10 months. That already feels like having too much on my plate. I often think about what if I could somehow sell the business or no longer be a business owner. I often think about just being able to get out of it, and that's not easy to do, and there's all kinds of good reasons not to. So I carry on, but anyways, I do not feel ambivalent about my family. I do feel ambivalent about, managing a business in addition to it. And truly, my friend recently said, you sound truly ambivalent about this. And maybe I'd like to record a video where I kind of talk through that ambivalence. So, it's fine. I'm a little distracted. This is the new house that my husband and I bought that we are renovating and getting ready to move into. This is my new home office. Very excited to have a home office, and you can see I've painted it and made some kind of statement with the paint job here. And of course, I even had thought in particular it might just make a nice backdrop for even, talking on video. So it feels meaningful to be recording this video in this new home office, but as you'll see, it's sort of storage right now. It hasn't really been set up for use. This is the first time I've actually done anything in the space that resembles work or creativity or productivity. Anyways, I was just talking about my life feels overly full. Even though I'm drawn to online, I have all kinds of fantasies about creating and participating online. My natural kind of default mode, and what I slipped into is lurker mode, listening mode, being able to kind of consume online intermittently as my life allows. I have a very parasocial relationship with other online creators, where I listen to them and follow them and have my own conversations in my head with what I hear. But it's, this is in lieu of maybe having more actual social relationships. I feel like I have very little time where I can be 100% in control of my attention and energy. Looking after the girls. If the girls are taking a nap or in someone else's care, then my priority is to use that time for work. And one of the trade-offs there is that it makes it harder for me to schedule having real conversations with people, or even just have them spontaneously. Say if I were to find myself with like a spare hour, my thought would not be to just phone someone up and have a conversation. It's like, okay, let's just chip away at my other responsibilities, work, sitting at my laptop, writing emails, paperwork, blah, 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 working, or even, the most, lately one of the most creative things I get to do, actually creative generative things, is just, working on my to-do list. And all right, in terms of this first video though, so talked a little bit about my life and my context, a little bit about already spoken a bit about my ambitions with this. If anyone does listen to this, you're welcome to post a comment just so I know that you're there, but no, obviously, yeah. What direction to go in? Let's see, there's many paths I could go down, trains of thought. I went for a walk this morning. It was very nice, first thing in the morning, went out for a walk outside, just in my own thoughts. I had baby June with me in the front carrier, lost in thought while walking. And while I was on that walk, that's where I really came up with this resolve to record this video and put it online. I realized that in terms of, that it would be doable to record a not too long video and to upload it and just have it out there, and this wash, rinse, and repeat, and then just keep doing this. And this could be a creative, expressive practice that I could potentially keep up with without having to put too much time into it. And less than an hour, definitely less than an hour a day, maybe less than half an hour a day. And it's something I could do at any time or in any place. And if I'm not too concerned about the quality of my work, that of course that makes it easier. And if I am inviting the potential for there to be an audience, while at the same time not actually too concerned about actually creating or building an audience, that's good too. It's easy to kind of get drawn into the project of, what would excellence look like, and then trying to make it as good as you can right off the bat, and have ideas about how to make your creative thing successful, and courting engagement, and optimizing and maximizing. And I guess when I think about the things in a more ambitious way, that you get the energy to do them, but I find quickly, as soon as I kind of get energized about actually a good idea or something that I think could have legs, or actually maybe get engagement, then I'm like, oh, but I don't have time to engage with the engagement, or I don't feel like I have capacity to engage with the engagement, or what if it is successful and I get sucked in? Then, and then I'm like, oh, no, I can't do that. I can't afford to do that right now. But I think I can afford to do this. And I also feel not just opportunity, but I do feel also like a necessity. It feels necessary to no, that's not right. I feel a need to actually to create some kind of creative practice. I mean, I feel like I've felt through basically most of my adult life that there's some creative, expressive potential in me that I have had to stifle. and haven't had the time or the mindset to really be able to cultivate it or run with it, just in terms of, what gets in the way. Well, I can say responsibilities, ambitions, wanting to do things that are meaningful to other people and that I know are meaningful to other people. So kind of held accountable, come up with an idea that means something to someone else, and then all of a sudden you're holding yourself accountable to it, and then you're committed to it, and then it becomes a responsibility and can feel like work. I'm also doing things too that are, seem necessary for one's survival or one's career, or have some economic value to them, and getting drawn into the pattern of wanting to be successful, whether it's financially successful or, getting some kind of vague social points. This is me me thinking around, like, what is it that has blocked me having more what you call like a creative or even kind of artistic practice or a philosophical practice. I've never thought of myself as being somebody who wants to practice philosophy as such, but I can say that recently listening to some videos from the Stoa and from Alexander Bard and Raven Connolly and Cattle Last. The last few, it's very much like people doing philosophy on the internet, and I've been thinking maybe that really is what I want to do on the internet, rather than, I don't know, something that it felt more like building something. Okay, what is we going to build? And I feel now like I can kind of accept that actually it's just like having conversations. We're kind of having a conversation is maybe the beginning and the end of it in terms of some obvious act. Being able at some point to meet people in person or make some real world connection, even if most of the connecting really just happens in the online space. That would be a dream. But it is something about conversation. I mean, it just for me listening, again, when it comes to me listening to things online and having this parasocial relationship, I mean, I think, and sometimes in my, I'm feeling more down on it, I'll feel like, oh, I'm just like addicted. I'm addicted to something, to this. This is just fundamentally less than having, deeper real world connections and friendships within the immediate town that I live in, city that I live in. But at the same time, I am drawn to it, and there is some kind of depth and interesting affordances in terms of the asynchronous conversation. There is a religious, spiritual element to it that's component. Well, I don't know, call it component, or maybe that's really what it is, just simply what it is. And I think, it changes me, and I think in terms of my ability to, maybe it's a mixed bag. I was going to say it did something to improve my ability to move around in time and space in terms of my, real world physical context and social family context. I think it improves that in terms of some of the ideas and structures. But I think again, there's now this ambivalence. Like, I really do, I do question it just because it gets me lost in listening to things. It gets me very lost in thought and in my own head, rather than paying attention to what the kind of imminent here and now. But I think by speaking on videos and putting things online and having things be a little bit more of a two-way street, or there being a bit more communication, if it's done, and I feel like if I can thread the needle or stay on the right path with it, it would just bring everything into that right relation, as Jordan Hall says, or bring me more personal integrity. And by getting things out of here, then nice, clean, clearer mind for then being present for the rest of my life. I feel in terms of this sort of real life, or whatever this fake life is online, like everyone else, I'm kind of confused about is this online thing fake, and then there's real. It'd be nice if there was sort of better language for it, and I accept that it's inevitable. I don't think there's no going back. There is some kind of right relationship I need to have with the internet and this sort of shared global network, or I don't know what the language for it is. See, we're over 21 minutes long. I feel like that maybe there's some more concrete things that I would like to say. I could always save it for next time. I just had this moment of thinking about, I was remaining silent, thinking about what to say. I was thinking about how much silence is acceptable when, creating a video for that, you might have this idea that other people might listen to. What amount of silence seems acceptable, or acceptable is not the right word. Sam was saying ums and these filler words. I'm thinking about what maybe some of the creative rules or guidelines or principles I might want to have in terms of this online, my kind of online self-presentation. Of course, like anyone, I would want to be able to limit my use of filler words. That would mean being more comfortable just pausing or being silent, rather than just feeling like I need to hold the floor with just so I don't get cut off, because there is no one to cut me off. But I find, say if I don't use a filler word and then I just go silent, I do find that all of a sudden I start to kind of get more and more lost in thought. It takes me, it's like if I go silent and all of a sudden I'm hopping on a new train of thought, and then it takes me further away from this the stream of speech that I'm wanting to pour out, some continuous stream of speech. Okay. Well, I do feel like this is going somewhere. I feel good about this. I'd like to, at some point I'd like to talk a little bit, to just somehow articulate something about the, one sense of the invisible listener. Like, what is the mental model? Like, what is the mental model that I have right now about you, the listener? It is, who is it? I remember someone, actually it was Jordan Peterson. He was saying that when he does, when he speaks for an audience, he's never speaking to the audience. He'll just choose, from moment to moment, kind of choose one person, and he's speaking to them. And that sounded something about that sounded right to me. The idea of it, you're never speaking, like the idea of trying to get away from just having this like abstract phantasm of your imagined audience. Trying to get away from that and focusing on actually having your imagined listener being a real person that, say, you're seeing. It's someone that you know, maybe it's a friend, or that you can expect to be listening, and that's who you're talking to. And that seems right to me. I don't really know who's going to listen to this. I don't even know if I'm going to listen to this again. We'll see. But I am stuck right now with talking to this imagined audience. It's occurred to me that maybe I should just pick one person, imagine I'm talking to them. I could record a video in which I imagine I'm talking to my mother, or maybe my sister. My mother, she's dead, so it's not, that would be a very imaginative exercise. It is conceivable that my sister might listen to this at some point. She's around and she watches videos on YouTube. But maybe, maybe it is, I could, in terms of that kind of imagined phantom audience, I would like to just, audience, of course I know I can't get around the fact that I know that maybe multiple people will listen to this. I can't just talk to one person individually, but perhaps by continually talking to this imagined phantom abstract audience, I can develop and refine my concept of this imagined listener. And it's neat. That's actually one thing that I am in a way I have control over, which is my imagination of who my imagined listener is. And I guess with YouTube, particularly when you start with no audience, you can, people talk about building a audience, but yeah, what if you think about the audience that you are building in your mind? First, I'm building an audience in my mind. There's this agent, I guess you could say there's this agent. And I'm thinking about sort of IFS and there's some agent that's going to exist in my psyche, which is the audience. I can build up and develop my kind of, maybe something like the ideal audience, and I can speak to that ideal audience. That's what I like to do. I'd like to start maybe visualizing what my ideal audience is. I can speak to that ideal audience, and then the people who may stumble across my videos, assuming I make more videos, again, I'm hesitant to presume, they will, if they kind of align with my imagined ideal audience, they will find this like more listenable, and maybe they will listen, and then I can build, in some ways, maybe then I sort of build something that actually is my audience will be closer to the ideal audience. So, believe, achieve. Conceive, believe, achieve. I'm trying to think what it was that Michael Bisping said in sort of satirical way of the self-help mindset. This is almost half an hour. This is fun. I don't want to get off. June hasn't woken up yet. I kind of want to keep talking because this is a really nice space to be in. I don't want to overdo it. Slow and steady wins the race. Pace yourself. If I get too wrapped up and I think that a video is this big long thing that I'm going to get immersed in, I won't. I'll be hesitant to kind of keep doing it. So I should wrap this up. Okay. Well, if you're listening, thank you for listening. Cool. There we go. Cool. All right. Signing off.